Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Welcome to Share Talk CEO interview time, and I'm joined by David Budd, who's CEO at Genedrive. How are you today, David?
Yeah, good morning, Zach.
Hello. Right. Your company is one of the perhaps less well-known amongst the small caps. Could you tell us a bit about it?
So we're a Manchester-based business. We're in the healthcare sector, and we make a small handheld device which is used to do molecular diagnostics on patients. We're primarily focused at doing things like infectious diseases, so testing for hepatitis or tuberculosis. And for us, those markets are generally Africa, Asia Pacific, and India. Where literally there are tens of millions of patients requiring testing every year.
So, I mean, this looks to me as a non-medical person, something out of Star Trek or something quite 21st century. Is that the case? Is it a big leap in technology, this particular unit?
I wouldn't have said it's a huge leap in technology. What we've done is we've taken the type of testing that maybe you and I might take for granted that we would have available at our local hospitals, and we've miniaturized it and made it available in a handheld format so that it can be offered in non-traditional settings. So it might be the equivalent of having a test done at your GP instead of going to your hospital. The reality is that in much of the world there are millions of people that can't access hospitals in big cities or more modern types of testing. And so we're trying to bring what's so-called molecular diagnostics, or the diagnostics using DNA, to a more decentralized setting so that people can have access to the testing that they need.
So, I mean, one of the things you hear in the media is about many diseases. The earlier you get them, the better. Is this something which enables that?
It can be. I think the key thing is that in many cases, people can get a diagnosis, but if you can't actually administer treatment at the same time, sometimes they don't come back for treatment. So they're so-called what we call lost to treatment. So the idea here with a Genedrive product is that you can get a result with something between 40 to 60 minutes. So a patient at a clinic or at a doctor's office can get a diagnosis and the corresponding treatment at the same time.
Right, and obviously the $64,000 question is the cost in terms of let's say the customers and how much you might make out of this particular venture.
Sure. So in many parts of the world, cost is incredibly important in terms of end user cost. So our product has specifically been designed for our target markets. So if you were trying to do molecular diagnostics in a hospital setting, you might have to pay £100,000 for a piece of equipment to allow you to do it. And you might have to agree with the company that supplies it to do between 50 and 100,000 tests over several years. So it's a very expensive proposition. We've got a device that costs between $3,000 and $4,000 to the end user. And typically a test costs something between $20 and $35, depending on what it is. So it's a very economic proposition for the person that's purchasing from us. And clearly it's allowing them testing to be done for people that today can't access it. So again, a very excellent sort of healthcare outcome for patients as well.
Right. I mean, one of the things about the stock market is it tends to be, it's not very technical, not very scientific. And so companies in that area don't tend to get the best, let's say, bang for their buck as far as private investors or even institutions are concerned. How much is your story on the stock market related to maybe people not being so aware of your product rather than actually anything else?
Well, I think a lot of it is. The company was founded originally in 2007. It was listed on AIM in April of 2007 on a very different business. I came into the company 2 years ago in March of 2016. And we've completely turned the company around now into a focused molecular diagnostic company. So we don't really resemble anything from a story perspective of what it is that we were listed on. We have a very strong institutional shareholder list. It's available on our website, and you can see it's a really blue chip listing of London-based investment houses. anything from traditional investment through to VCT and EIS. But what we haven't done really is extend our story out to the retail sector very much. So you're quite right. I think as a company, we have executed very well over the last couple of years in terms of getting our products developed, getting them approved, getting them into market, and a lot of the markets that we're focused on are very large. So something like a tuberculosis market, for example, there's over 10 million patients that get tuberculosis every year that would benefit from our technology. But as you rightly say, that story probably has not disseminated out into the retail market in the way that we would want it to.
And in terms of the revenues that you expect to generate, how can we view that? Because obviously these are big markets as well.
They are very big markets. So our key product that we have on the market right now is for hepatitis C, and we're in the process now of doing all our registrations and going to market in combination with our distributor, which is a Japanese company called Sysmex. And Sysmex is quoted on the Tokyo Exchange. Actually, they've got revenues a little bit over $2 billion a year. Have a market cap of around 14 billion. So very large, credible company. We finished our year this year with around 3.5 million in the bank, and overall revenues around 3.5 million. So that's a combination of grant revenue, contract revenue, and revenue from Genedrives themselves. Our analyst forecasts, our revenue models are freely available to everyone through Hardman. So, you can clearly look at those in terms of revenue profile going forward. But, generally we're working into markets that are, worth between, 40 and $100 million, depending on the actual assay itself.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing how you do over the next year or so. David Budd, CEO at Genedrive, thank you very much indeed for talking to Show Talk today.
Great. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.